The following announcement has been paid for by Perched on the Top Rope.
Hey, this is Fred Ottman, a.k.a. Tugboat Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B.A.D.D. Big Steel Man, and welcome, because I'm teetering on the top rope.
Welcome, everyone, to Perched on the Top Rope. I am your host, former Dirt Sheet writer from Daily DDT, Ringside News, and Sportskeeda. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Lee Walker, and boy oh boy do we have an episode for you today. As on Saturday, January 7th, I hope your keister doesn't leave your seat because you are in for an exciting ride with WWE and AAA, as we have two exciting PLEs. As WWE working with AAA, since they purchased the company, they will have Worlds Collide. Now, WWE Worlds Collide is set to bring together talents from WWE, NXT, AAA, and TNA. This event will take place on Saturday, June 7th. For some of you, it'll be Sunday, June 8th. We'll get to that in a second. At the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California. Now, this will be available to stream live for free on WWE's official YouTube channel, featuring commentary in both English and Spanish. Now, the global start times for WWE Worlds Collide is like this. Pacific Time US and Canada, the start time is noon. Mountain Time US and Canada, 1 p.m. Central Time US and Canada, 2 p.m. Eastern Time US and Canada, 3 p.m. Atlantic Time for Canada, 4 p.m. Newfoundland Time in Canada, 4:30 p.m. British Summer Time, 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time, 9 p.m. Eastern European Summer Time, 10 p.m. Moscow Standard Time, 10 p.m. Gulf Standard Time, 11 p.m. India Standard Time, 1:30 a.m. Sunday, June 8th. The rest of these are Sunday, June 8th. Bangladesh start time, 2:30 a.m. Sunday, June 8th. Thailand Standard Time, Sunday, June 8th, 3 a.m. China Standard Time, Sunday, June 8th, 4 a.m. Japan Standard Time, Sunday, June 8th, 5 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. and New Zealand Standard Time, 8 a.m. And now that we got that out of the way, fans, let's take a look at the card. And I don't know how the match set is, how the card's going to be, but I'm going to first start with a 6-man tag team match as representing WWE Legado del Fantasma, which is Santos, Escobar, Angel, and Berto, as they will be taking on from AAA El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. Now, we've seen the trio of the Team WWE with Santos, Berto, and Angel having some issues over the past few months, to which the stable leader, Santos Escobar, has been trying to keep the peace, but it was mentioned on May 23rd of SmackDown, in an attempt to resolve the issues that the trio have been having. Escobar announced that Legado de Fantasma would be teaming up at Worlds Collide to take on the three that I mentioned, which is one half of the Crash Tag Team Champions, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown from AAA in a 6-man tag team match. And if I'm going to predict a winner here, I'm going to say that it is going to be AAA with El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown taking the victory, as we potentially see the end of Legado del Fantasma. But only time will tell. We know WWE likes to break up factions. New pay-per-views, we've already seen tension with the group. So who knows? But I'm going to say that the AAA guys win this one. And our next match is for the AAA Mega Championship as El Hijo del Vikingo, who is the champion who recently just won the championship against Alberto El Patron, who you might remember in WWE as Alberto Del Rio. Fans? Yes, that's right. Alberto El Patron is part of AAA. However, he lost the championship to El Hijo del Vikingo, which WWE has since made a little bit of a big deal about him winning the championship and the fact that he's facing Chad Gable, who, as we all know, Chad Gable is pulling double duty. Supposedly, maybe. We're not going to find out until that mask comes off. Anyway, I think where they're going with this and the way that Chad Gable has his other character, El Grande Americano, I really feel like WWE is going to WWE here, and Chad Gable is going to win this match and become the AAA Mega Champion and run this with the storyline with him and El Grande Americano. I could be wrong. I highly doubt I'm wrong. That is literally just the way that I see it. And I'm going to say Chad Gable picks up the W on this one. I know that probably bothers some fans, but that's how I'm seeing this one going. And the next match is a fatal four-way, as it will be the NXT North American Championship on the line, as Ethan Page will defend against Javon Evans, AAA/TNA's AAA World Cruiserweight Champion Laredo Kid, who I've seen in TNA, MLW, phenomenal talent, and SmackDown's Rey Fenix will all be in this match. And this all started when at Battleground, the NXT general manager, Ava, announced that the winner of the NXT North American Championship match on May 27th of of NXT, the champion at the time was Ricky Saints, and he was defending against Ethan Page, that the winner would defend the title at Worlds Collide. Now, Ethan Page won the championship that night, and later that night during his celebration, he was interrupted by Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Rey Fenix as they all announced that they would be facing Page at Worlds Collide. Now, as far as a winner of this match, this is going to be a phenomenal match. I'm expecting throughout this whole PLE a ton of high flying, and this match is 1,000% going to have that, potentially stealing the show, in my opinion. However, I don't see this title changing, and I think that Ethan Page will still come out on top of this one. And don't you worry, fans, because WWE/AAA did not forget about having women on this card, as we have a tag team match pulling double duty. Stephanie Vaquer, who will be teaming with Lola Vice. She's also in the women's Money in the Bank match later on. However, those two representing the main roster of WWE, Raw, and NXT will take on AAA's Chik, Tormenta, and Dalys. Oh yeah, Dalys La Carabina is her name. And this match started out when at Battleground, the two women from AAA were seen talking backstage with general manager of NXT, Ava, and later both were in the crowd watching Stephanie Vaquer successfully defend the NXT Women's Championship. Well, later that night, an argument took place between Vaquer and the women of AAA. 2 days later on NXT, Ava announced the tag team match at Worlds Collide. To which Lola Vice then appeared and volunteered to be Vaquer's tag team partner at the event, which Stephanie accepted. And after that, the match was subsequently made official. Now, my honest opinion here is I'm going to say that Lola Vice and Stephanie Vaquer win this match. Stephanie is very hot right now within WWE. As I also stated earlier, she's also in the Women's Money in the Bank match. So with that being said, I cannot see them losing this match. And folks, our main event for the first ever WWE Worlds Collide. First off, there was an incident that did take place that actually changes the match. As you see in the graphic, it's the LWO, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde supposed to be taking on Octagón Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. However, at the most recent taping of WWE Speed, Joaquin Wilde was knocked out. He is no longer in the match, and he has been replaced by one of my favorites, Mr. Puss in Boots himself, Lince Dorado, in a 6-man tag team match. So Lince Dorado will be replacing Joaquin Wilde, as the LWO will take on Octagón Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. This is going to be a hard one. I feel like WWE, main event, this is really going to be us seeing a change within AAA. I feel like with those changes, just like any company we've seen when they do like forbidden door things, the main company tends to run the show. So I feel like we're going to see the LWO pull this out. But WWE could swerve us with having the Octagón Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana win to really put over those AAA talents. And I really feel like WWE needs to get those talents over with the WWE fan and the WWE universe. Because if you don't, well, then what was the point of this whole pay-per-view, in my honest opinion? We're supposed to see the best of AAA, and if the best of the best lose, then are they really the best of the best? I mean, I guess it's the best of the best of what that company has to offer, right? Like, that's what it would be, but I don't know. I guess I would rather see the AAA guys pull this out. I've always felt like other companies, whenever multi pay-per-view PLE things come to fruition with multiple companies, the company who's literally flipping the bill is the one who does the best. And I feel like this is going to be no different because, well, WWE owns AAA, but I would like to see Octagón Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana win the main event. Just saying. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Here comes the money.
What the hell?
Here comes the money.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can't forget that right after WWE Worlds Collide is the fact that we have WWE Money in the Bank. And ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 matches for this card. I honestly expect that even though there's 4 matches, this is going to be an incredible PLE. And we are going to start off with the last chance match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. So the rules to the match is if Becky Lynch loses, she can no longer challenge for the title for as long as Valkyria is champion. If Valkyria loses, she will be forced to raise Lynch's hand and acknowledge that Becky Lynch is the better woman. Fans, I don't think Lyra Valkyria is going to hold this championship much longer. She has put a good promo together. We got here because on the night of WrestleMania 41, Night 2, Valkyria teamed with the returning Becky Lynch to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, which Becky Lynch took that moment from Bayley because Bayley was the original partner. However, they lost the belts immediately the next night in the rematch on Raw, which infuriated Lynch, causing her to turn on Valkyria. The two then faced each other at Backlash for Valkyria's WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, which Valkyria retained, but after the match, Lynch attacked her even more. Valkyria would cost Lynch her Money in the Bank qualifying match on May 19th on Raw, and on May 26th, a rematch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship was scheduled for Money in the Bank. On that night's Raw, Lynch proposed a last chance stipulation for the match, where if Valkyria won, Becky would never challenge for the title again for as long as Valkyria was champion. But if Lynch won, Valkyria had to raise her hand and recognize her as the better woman. The same way that Lynch did back at NXT Halloween Havoc in 2023 when she lost the NXT Women's Championship to Valkyria, to which Lyra agreed. And in my honest opinion here, Becky Lynch is your new Women's Intercontinental Champion. It also makes her a Grand Slam champion. And this is where I see Bayley returning. And our next match is a tag team match as Cody Rhodes and champion Jey Uso will take on 17-time champion John Cena and Logan Paul. But how did we get here? Well, we got here because at the Royal Rumble, Jey Uso won the Men's Royal Rumble match by last eliminating John Cena. And at night 1 of WrestleMania 41, Uso won the World Heavyweight Championship, defeating Gunther, while on night 2, Cena defeated Cody Rhodes to win the undisputed WWE Championship. After WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes took a sabbatical from WWE while Uso began feuding with Logan Paul. And at Saturday night's main event that took place May 24th, Cena confronted Uso backstage prior to his championship defense against Logan Paul. Cena had commented on the possibility of Uso losing his title to a YouTuber and how that would ruin wrestling. Something Cena promised to do after declaring his intentions to retire as champion by the end of 2025. Later that night, Cena interfered in the title match on Paul's behalf, only to be thwarted by a returning Cody Rhodes. Uso subsequently pinned Logan Paul to retain his title. After the match, Rhodes declared that he and Uso would face John Cena and Logan Paul in a tag team match at Money in the Bank, which it was made official. Now, we've seen the likes of John Cena getting the upper hands on people, and with this one, it's a tag match. I don't see, I don't know. I want to say I see the villains winning this one and that a non-champion is going to get pinned. But, hey, I've been wrong 1,000 times before. What's one more time, right? I don't see John Cena and Logan Paul winning this match. I see Logan Paul taking the fall. Unless they decide to pin a champion, I would say that Jey Uso takes the fall. But who knows? John Cena could be the one getting pinned. I mean, anyone in this match could be getting pinned. However, I do want to say that the bad guys take the fall on this one. I don't know why. I'm just seeing like a good vibe only here that Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes win. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with it before it's too late and I change my mind. I'm not changing my mind. Those are the winners.
Here comes the money.
Oh, snap. We are down to the Money in the Bank qualifying matches, fans. And those who qualified for the women are Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and Stephanie Vaquer, who is on the WWE Worlds Collide pay-per-view. She is pulling a double duty. So how did we get here? Well, qualifying matches for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match consisted of 6 triple threat matches that occurred between Raw and SmackDown, also with 3 spots for each brand. Much like the men's, the qualifiers began on May 16th on SmackDown, where Alexa Bliss defeated Chelsea Green and Michin. The next 2 to qualify were on the May 19th episode of Raw, where Roxanne Perez defeated Becky Lynch and Natalya, which Becky Lynch, there was interference from Live Valkyria, which is why we're seeing the one-on-one match between those two. We also saw Rhea Ripley defeat Kairi Sane and Zoe Stark. And I believe it was this match that Zoe Stark injured her knee. The 4th qualifier was determined on SmackDown, where Julia defeated Charlotte Flair and Zelina Vega. And SmackDown's final spot was determined on May 30th of an episode of SmackDown where Naomi defeated Jade Cargill and Nia Jax. Raw's final spot was determined on June 2nd of Raw, where Stephanie Vaquer defeated Ivy Nile and Liv Morgan. So that's how we got here. Let's try and figure out who's going to win. Now, a lot of these women are kind of set up in storylines, like Roxanne Perez has a thing going on with Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez is trying to join the Judgment Day because, we're seeing little hints of possibly breaking up. Rhea Ripley's not really feuding with anyone. Alexa Bliss is not feuding with anyone. Naomi is still not kind of in a love-hate relationship, and it's definitely more hate at this point with Jade Cargill. And Stephanie Vaquer just joining Raw. My honest opinion is we're going to see... I'm going to say Stephanie wins this match. I think they're going to go over the top with her. She's been doing great. I think she gets pushed to the gills, and I think that's who Money in the Bank winner is, Stephanie Vaquer. And ladies and gentlemen, we are at the main event for WWE Money in the Bank, as we have the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men's for an opportunity of a World Championship match contract, as Solo Sikoa will take on LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and El Grande Americano will all be part of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And how did we get here? Well, the qualifying matches, again, consist of 6 triple threat matches held across Raw and SmackDown with 3 spots for each brand. The first to qualify was from SmackDown on May 16th, and it was Solo Sikoa as he defeated Jimmy Uso and Rey Fenix. On the following week of SmackDown, LA Knight qualified by defeating Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura. We had 2 qualifiers on Monday Night Raw on May 26th, as Penta defeated Chad Gable and Dragon Lee, and this left Seth Rollins defeating Finn Balor and Sami Zayn. On the same week of SmackDown, Andrade earned SmackDown's final spot by defeating Carmelo Hayes and Jacob Fatu. And I'm not going to lie here, fans. I totally thought that Jacob Fatu was taking that one. And then Raw's final spot was determined on June 2nd, where El Grande Americano defeated AJ Styles and CM Punk. And when you look at the names, again, this is a hard one. If I'm expecting anyone to win this match, I would really, really hate to see El Grande Americano win this. It would feel like some Vince McMahon shit, in my opinion. But it would make Chad Gable hot, especially with winning, the AAA Mega Championship. I don't want to see that, though. Andrade is a really good sleeper here, in my opinion. No one saw him winning, I feel like. I feel like Seth Rollins would be a top that we feel like could win. And I feel like LA Knight is another one as well. As far as Solo Sikoa, I feel like if they did that, we'd start to really see a rift between Solo and Jacob Fatu. But I don't think it starts here. Penta's had one hell of a run so far since he's been in WWE, 1,000%. But I'm torn between LA Knight and Seth Rollins as being the top, where my sleepers are really Andrade and El Grande Americano. I'm going to say... wow, this is hard. I want to say LA Knight wins, to be honest with you. I mean, they've been over the moon with him. Great charisma, great in-ring ability, great look. I mean, I can argue the same thing for Seth Rollins. I do feel like we're going to see some sort of interference here. I'm not sure on whose end. It could be Seth Rollins because he's got Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed on his side against Solo Sikoa as Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb, who we know, has been renamed, but those are my leads. LA Knight and Seth Rollins. My sleepers are Andrade and El Grande Americano, but I got to pick a winner, and I'm just going to say LA Knight, LA Knight, LA Knight is your new Money in the Bank for the men's. So Saturday, June 7th, if you got nothing going on, at least for me, Eastern time, at 3 p.m., you can watch WWE Worlds Collide on WWE's official YouTube page. It's free. But then, after that pay-per-view, or PLE, you can switch over to Peacock to watch WWE Money in the Bank. Now, fans, you can find us anywhere and everywhere podcasts are found. Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Podbay, Red Circle. We're on every podcast platform there is. It's Perched on the Top Rope. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Perched on the Top Rope and youtube.com/Perched on the Top Rope. You can find us on Facebook with over 23,000 followers strong. Facebook.com/Perched on the Top Rope. We are on X at Perched Top Rope, and we are on Instagram and Threads at Perched on the Top Rope Podcast. Now you can find us on TikTok, where we have hilarious posts, including Rest in Peace. I'm sorry, I still promote this. The Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan being humped by a dog. That's right, you heard me correctly. Rest in peace to Kevin Sullivan. But we have a video of him being humped by a dog on our TikTok. It's Perched on the Top Rope. And you can also find us on twitch.tv/Perched on the Top Rope, where every Sunday, as long as there's no PLEs or pay-per-views, we stream Sundays 8 p.m. where we are playing WWE 2K25 and occasionally Fortnite, because why not? So, ladies and gentlemen, when you want to follow the best, you follow Perched on the Top Rope, because you always have to remember, spoiler free's the way to be. I'm out.